Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Justina and here I like to make, create, and inspire fun art things with you through my DIYs. As you see by today's title, I have another Halloween DIY project for you for our countdown. It is 40 days until Halloween and I cannot believe it. This year has gone by so fast, but I am super excited for the spooky season. Now, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. Plus, we would love to have you here, part of our virtual art family. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here and clicking on today's video. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, but don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. It really does help out my channel. If you know one spooky friend who needs some inspiration, please share it to that one friend for me. That would help my channel out also. Now, with all that being said, let's just jump right into it and let's art today. In today's DIY, you're going to need a couple of boxes. You could have some lying around, but I purchased mine from Dollar Tree. They have these types of boxes out all year long with all different types of prints and patterns on them. I just purchased these because I really like the shape of them. It wasn't a typical square or circle, so I thought I was going to stack all three, but then I came to terms with only using 2 of those boxes, but you can use 3 if you want to use 3. For the topper of this, which is going to be a Halloween cake, I decided to go with the Dollar Tree skull. There is so many different ways you can decorate your cake, so if you don't want to use a skull and you want to use a pumpkin, do so if you see fit. But to get started, I did start with the larger box, which is going to be the base of my cake. Now, I want these lids to stay put, so I am gluing them down using my hot glue gun. You don't have to glue yours down. That would be really cute too, to have like a little secret compartment in your cakes. However, I wanted to glue mine down. I did the same thing for my second tier, which is going to be the middle size box, and once again I'm just using my hot glue to attach the lid onto the base. Now that I have my boxes glued down, I did stack them just to make sure that I like the placement, but now it's time to decorate my boxes, and what I like to use is this DAP Fast and Final lightweight spackling that I purchased from Lowe's. Now, Dollar Tree does carry lightweight spackling if you want to use that, just to save a little bit more money, but since I do this quite often, I do purchase a big bucket. The first thing I did was place some of that spackling into a little bowl, and now I have my Folk Art multi-surface satin paint in this lavender color, which is this really pretty purple that I am going for. Now, all I did was add it right on top of my spackling, took a large popsicle stick and started mixing the two mixtures together. Now, I do suggest adding a little bit of paint at a time and then mix it thoroughly so that you know exactly what color you're going with. Now, since the spackling is white, it does lighten up your paint color. That's why I say go a little bit so that you can add as much as you need as you go along. But I knew exactly what I needed after it was nice and mixed up. This is the color that I achieved and it is gorgeous. I took that large popsicle stick and started adding it onto my larger box, which is the base of our cake, like I mentioned before, and I am spreading it out with that popsicle stick. Now, at first I am going with a nice thick layer, and then I am spreading it out, making sure to get as even layers as possible on all of the sides. Now, I am not a cake decorator and I don't really know how to decorate a cake professionally. However, I just did the best I could with the popsicle stick to make it resemble a real cake as much as I can. Now, there are so many different ways to decorate your cake. You just have to play around with it to find the best method for you. This is how my first tier looks. I absolutely love it, and I did purposely leave those strokes onto the side to mimic a real cake. For my second tier, center, I really wanted it to be this vibrant orange. So this is orange acrylic paint. I just added it right on top of my spackling, mixed it all together until it was well incorporated, the same way we did the first layer. And it should look like this, which is a really smooth consistency, but really vibrant of a color. After I have my color the way I like it, once again, I'm using a large popsicle stick, adding a thick layer onto the sides and smoothing it out to a nice smooth layer. This does take quite some time, but the outcome of this is really gorgeous and fun to do. Now, after you have on your layers, I do suggest waiting for it to completely dry. I did not. I wanted to stack my cakes as quickly as possible, and to do so, I am using my hot glue gun. I'm adding a bunch of it to the bottom box of my second tier. Then I will flip it over and add it right on top of my first tier, which was almost dry to the touch. Now, this stuff does take up to 30 minutes to dry completely, at least that's what it says on the bucket. However, if you stick it in front of a fan, it will dry even quicker. Now that I have my boxes stacked, the next thing I needed to do was add my topper, which is this Dollar Tree skull. Once again, I added a bunch of hot glue to the bottom of his chin, placed him in the center of the second box, and held him into place until he fully cured. And I will place that to the side to start working on the accessories. I have this scrapbooking paper that is black and white, but to me it resembled a waffle cone, which is the look that I was going for. This paper came from a paper pack that I purchased from Michael's, but you can use whatever scrapbooking paper that you have on hand, or you can also use a poster board from Dollar Tree to come up with the same resemblance. After I rolled it up onto itself, I did take more hot glue, added to the very edge of my scrapbooking paper, and then rolled the paper onto the glue so that it had time to set up and dry. You can always use some school glue or even packing tape to hold your scrapbooking paper into place, but I just liked using my hot glue gun. Once that was dry, I did take a pair of scissors and I started cutting my cone down to the size that I desire. I didn't want it too tall because it just didn't look right, so I did have to cut it back some ways. After I got the height that I liked, I then took a scrap piece of pool noodle and added it to the center of my cone. This will add as a structural hold for my cone and also give me a placement where I can add the cone to my skull head and have a barrier in between so that I can glue it down into place. After I stuck it in, I did use some hot glue to attach it inside of the cone, and then I'm taking an X-Acto knife and cutting off the excess. Now that my cone is all ready to be attached to my skull, I'm just trying to find the best placement of where I want to attach him. Then I am attaching the cone down with some hot glue. Now my hot glue was on the high setting, so it did start burning the pool noodle and melting it down, so I suggest using something else. However, I just added a bunch of hot glue with some extra pieces of pool noodle to hold it into place, and this is what my cake looks thus far. Now it's time to decorate the cake. Once again, I mixed up a purple batch of spackling, added it to a piping bag with a piping tip, and now I'm just piping it onto the skull's head. This is the purple ice cream that is on top of my skull, and I wanted it to look like it was melting down the skull's head. Remember, you can make this as creepy or as cutesy as you like. The possibilities are endless, but I wanted to start off to add it like it was a perfectly whipped up ice cream cone, and then I will go down further onto the skull's head and make it look more messy. But I do also want to show you that I do decorate the back of my projects as well, because it just makes it feel more completed. Now for the top of my box for the second tier, I wasn't really completely sure how I wanted to decorate it, so I just mixed up more orange spackling and then added it right on top. Once again, I am using a popsicle stick to smooth everything out and make sure that it was nicely coated all the way up to the skull's head. Now I did let this set up and dry completely overnight so that I can start adding more decorations on top. From the bottom layer of my tier tray, I wanted to hide this cap of the box, and to do so I have some of these green glass fillers that I purchased from Dollar Tree. I did use these in my last cake, and if you want to see that video, I will link it down below. It is really fun and it reminds me of Beetlejuice, so make sure you look at that after today's video. But as you saw there, I did add a bunch of hot glue, and I'm just adding these little glass fillers right on top of it. And I did have some purple in my green. However, every time I picked one up, it didn't attach to the box, so it's completely these green fillers on the bottom. Now it's time to make some fudge or some ganache or some sort of drippy component to our cake. And as you saw, I just added some Mod Podge to this little bowl here with some black acrylic paint, and I mix it until everything was well incorporated. Now for my drippy effect, I did let the Mod Podge mixture set up just for a little bit. I believe about 20 minutes. I left it off to the side so that it can start setting up and it will be a thicker consistency. As you see here, I took a popsicle stick and started adding it to the edge of my box so that it can start dripping down and give me that creepy vibe that I'm going for. You can have the same effect by using school glue as well, and I also did the same thing using caulk from Dollar Tree, but for this project I did use my Mod Podge method. And as you see here, I am tapping the box so those drips can go further down the purple layer. This part of the project, it does tend to get very messy, at least for me, so I do suggest wearing some gloves if you don't want Mod Podge paint all over you. But I did use the same mixture for the top of my cake as well, which is the ice cream portion, and I'm just adding it sporadically all over my ice cream mixture and also onto my skull. I add a bunch in a certain area. I use the same tapping motion so that it can start dripping down my skull, and it looks like the hot fudge is just running down my skull's face, which I absolutely love. Since I was done with my fudge, I did mix up another batch of spackling, this time in this vibrant green color to match the beads that are on the bottom, and I added it to a piping bag with a piping tip so I can add more frosting to my cake. Now I didn't wait for my fudge to completely dry, however it did not matter, it didn't mess up anything, and as you see here, I'm just piping it right onto my cake, making these little pretty puffs on the outer edges of my purple layer. As you see, some of my fudge did fall down all the way to the bottom of my cake, which I don't mind. The messier the better. I took that same spackling and added it to the top layer of my cake as well, but this time instead of little puffs, I'm going in this zigzaggy motion just to make a different type of texture on the top. Once I was done, I have some of these pumpkin picks that I'm pretty sure I purchased from Walmart. I'm breaking it off of the toothpick as closely as I can to the pumpkin. Then I took a pair of scissors and removed any excess that didn't break off. And then I will add that pumpkin right into the center of the spackling that we just added on all of the sides. I didn't attach any glue to it. I just pushed it right into the spackling and it will hold it into place. However, if you want to, you can always add glue to the back of it and it will adhere down as well. Lastly, for this cake, I wanted a little bit more pizzazz onto the orange layer, so I'm adding all of these little spiders everywhere, and that completes today's DIY. I absolutely loved how my faux spooky Halloween cake turned out. This is hands down my favorite DIY thus far on this channel. I believe anything that I do sweets related that is faux on my channel is my favorite thing. However, I would love to know if you love it as much as I do down in the comment section below. And if you made it all the way to the end, leave me a cake emoji down there as well so I know that you stuck it all the way out to the end of the video. I really hope this video helped inspire you to get into the spooky Halloween season and maybe inspire you to make some of your own faux spooky treats as well. Here is a side-by-side of the previous cake that I've done in another video. Once again, if you want to see that video, it will be linked down in the description box below and also in a little card for you up top. Remember friends, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. Plus, we would love to have you part of our virtual art family here, where we do a lot of DIYs with an artistic twist. Now, if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you clicking on today's video and spending some time with me. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up button if you really enjoyed today's video. It really does help out my channel, and if you can also share it to at least one of your spooky friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you being here and taking the time to watch today's video. Once again, I really hope you get inspired, and as always, I will see you in the next one.